Um, the Liberal government have put two job-killing policies in place. One is what's called Bill 191, and that's the Far North Act. And that says no development of mining or forestry north in a certain north area, which is about 50% of all of the developable land in northern Ontario. So it has really caused a problem. And when you look at the other one, it's Bill 151, the Forest Tenure Act. And that's the one where you've got some guy in Toronto who is deciding, like a checkerboard game, wood allotments. So they've taken Dubreuilville's wood, a logging community in northern Ontario, they've taken their wood and moved it over to Hornpain. Well, maybe they should have realized the 250 employees who worked at the mill in Dubreuilville no longer have any wood and cannot go back to work. They've also taken the wood from Wawa and given it to White River. The same thing is happening there. These are job-killing policies. The FIT program that spends 80 cents for electricity to sell for 5 has caused skyrocketing hydro rates. So here in Timmins at Extrata, we see 787 men and women out of work, where 45 miles away, those jobs are in the province of Quebec today with cheap energy. So that's why we have to give the blame where the blame is due. And they have killed jobs in northern Ontario. 60 mills have closed, primarily due to higher energy costs and bad bills like Bill 191 and Bill 151.
What happens with those bills under a Tory government?
Under a Tory government, first of all, Bill 191 will be repealed. That Far North Act has got to end. We need to be able to access the wood and the minerals in the ground in northern Ontario to be able to bring back the province of Ontario. Bill 151, the one that has some guy in Toronto moving the wood around, that'll be reviewed so that we can understand what's best for the communities and how to, first of all, keep the jobs that we already have and then try to save the rest of them. Most economists would believe that corporate tax cuts are the way to kickstart an economy. And when we reduce corporate taxes, we're going to see that work here in Northern Ontario as well.
But where does the economic, the global economic meltdown fit into this? And how do you ensure that the corporations are going to, keep up with their end of doing business?
Well, governments don't create jobs. Corporations create jobs. So we need to provide the proper incentive to the proper people. The corporations are the one who are going to do the hiring. So when we reduce the red tape by 30%, we give them the confidence in the economy. We halt the skyrocketing energy bills by canceling the FIT program and giving them some corporate tax relief. All of the key pieces are in place for them to hire. It's the incentive to let them hire. We're not going to create jobs. It's those businesses that are going to actually create the jobs in Ontario. That is how these young people will get their first job. We think we've touched all of the right points and have created a really great opportunity to provide a wonderful economic climate in Northern Ontario. Here in North Bay, of course, we will suspend the flawed Metrolinx CAD deal. That is also in our policy, printed in our Changebook North, very specific for North Bay and Northern Ontario. Very proud that I was able to see that was part of our party's platform.
On the Metrolinx contract, you said suspension.
Yes.
Is that the same as canceling it?
No, it immediately suspends the contract and then allows us to review it. You know, our leader, Tim Hudak, came to North Bay and stood in front of a large crowd of supporters, northern leaders, Ontario Northland Management and Ontario Northland workers, and said, first of all, we're going to suspend the deal, and then we're going to review it to find out what's it going to cost to get out of it. Let's see if we can get out of this thing. Now, I suspect there's rumors from the rank and file that there's another 10 rail cars coming that CAD can't do. So I suspect you'll see another announcement in the next couple of weeks, just before the election. We call it the seat saver announcement of 10 more cars, but that's grasping at straws, and I think a further insult to the employees that you weren't. We didn't give you the main contract, but we threw you a bone of 10 cars that should have been worked on before, the polar bear cars, and now we understand there's a further and final 10 cars being announced just before the election. That's not going to fool anybody. We know that we need to suspend that contract. The Premier has not come to North Bay. The Premier has not responded to any of the municipal leaders across the north, from our own mayor, all through the city, all through the province, not responded to any of the chambers of commerce with the decency to respond to the letter.
Vision development in Northern Ontario. Is your party going to keep that, and are you going to develop some more opportunities?
Well, I think we've worked hard. I know as mayor, I worked hard to help develop the movie industry here in North Bay. Certainly the credits are a plus. There's no plan anywhere there's no mention anywhere on our plan about canceling any credits towards that or other credits for that matter. We think it's a great opportunity. There's a movie, as you know, being filmed here just south of Nipissing right now, and it's a great economic development tool. It supplies work for our men and women. It is important to the restaurants, the hotels. It's just one of many businesses that need to be continued to be developed here.
And touch base about the discussion about OW and disability folks.
Yeah, it's so sad when somebody on Ontario Works or Ontario Disability Support Program has an opportunity for a job, and they get a job, and they're proud of the fact that they have this job, but the moment they earn more than their limit, it's clawed back. So there's no incentive for them to work, absolutely no incentive for them to work, and no way to ever get ahead. It's a terrible cycle. So what we're going to allow them to do is when they hit that magic number, they're allowed to cross over it and begin to earn more money without having to have it clawed back and earn their way off of Ontario Works. And we think that that is going to offer them not only the cash in their pocket that they can keep, but a great sense of pride. They're going to earn themselves out of that cycle. They're going to break the cycle themselves, which I think is a really proud move.
What's the about face? Because it was the Conservative government that introduced that.
Kate, I'm all about looking to the future. You know, here we've looked at it. We've talked to people across Ontario. We did 16,000 HaveYourSayOntario.ca surveys that came back. We visited them in coffee shops. We talked to them online, on Facebook, and we understood that this is a problem in Ontario where that will just be a continuous cycle. If we don't do something, unlike the current government who hasn't done anything, we're going to do something to break the cycle.